Hello, it is Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. I'm Chris Remo and welcome back to the New York Times Crossword Daily Solve. Today is a Tuesday crossword puzzle, so it should be still relatively approachable, maybe just a little bit tougher than yesterday's Monday puzzle, and it will have a themed element. And today's themed edition of the Daily Solve has been brought to us by Mitchell Turek, Jenny Montague, Lewis Williams, and, as always, the invaluable Timothy Mark and the indomitable Showmaster. So thank you so much to the 5 of them, benefactors of the Daily Solve Patreon campaign, for their generous support in sustaining this channel and keeping this whole enterprise going. I do very much appreciate that. If you'd like to become a patron yourself, you can do so at patreon.com/dailysolve or in a link in the description field underneath the video. If you become a benefactor, in addition to that credit you get at the beginning of the recordings, you'll also get the Daily Solve Let's Check the Crosses mug. And if you become a patron at any level at all, of course, you'll get access to all of the bonus videos that have gone up on the channel to date, as well as the new ones that go up each week. Thank you to everybody who has become a patron at any level and directly supported this channel. As I said, it does keep this whole thing going. And you can also join the Daily Solve Discord chat server. You do get an extra channel in there if you're a patron, but other than that, it's free to join, and there's a link in the description field. And finally, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel itself. Of course, that's free, and it does help get this channel recommended and spread on YouTube. So thank you if you've done that as well. Okay, let's get on to the puzzle. This is a Tuesday crossword. It was constructed by Daniel Raymond, who has constructed several dozen puzzles for the New York Times. And it was edited, of course, as always, by Will Shorts. So let's start solving and see what's in store. Like plans and eggs, hatched? Is there any way we have a rebus already on a Tuesday puzzle? I sort of doubt it. Tres blank cake, tres leches cake is a kind of cake, I think. So does that, oh, laid, right, okay, of course. Before the plants and eggs can hatch, they must be laid. Okay, there we go, of course. If something's unmitigated, an unmitigated disaster, an utter disaster, an abject disaster, there we go, an unmitigated failure, abject failure. Start of a conclusion. Oh, is it ergo maybe? Maybe it's not abject. Because you could say ergo, therefore, thus, unmitigated, ardent, oh, darn. Jackie Robinson for one. Baseball player, was he a Dodger? Did he play for the Los Angeles Dodgers? Or maybe they were the Brooklyn Dodgers at the time. I do know that that was a thing that happened, was the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to Los Angeles. I'm not sure. Crud, maybe? Darn, a sort of soft, very light oath. Lizard with a crest, an iguana, a crested iguana. So unmitigated is... Why can I not see what that is? That is so frustrating. New York City-born ice cream brand with a Danish-sounding name, right? Häagen-Dazs, which I know is a completely invented name. And is it SZ? Is that? Or Z? Not sure, actually, I can't remember exactly which way it's spelled, but I know that these words were completely invented, and I don't think they mean anything. Group of 9, an Ennead. Errant, unmitigated? Fab 4, yeah, I suppose so. An unmitigated disaster, an errant disaster. That's not phrasing that is as obvious to me. In any case, I guess that's the answer. So Fab 4 drummer Ringo Starr and Wyatt and Virgil of the Wild West, or the Earps, Wyatt Earp and Virgil Earp, famous sort of lawmen of the Wild West. To go on a shopping spree is to spend money. High five, e.g., is a slap, maybe? A slap of hands? Headliner, a lead. If you're the headliner artist at a festival, you're the lead artist, for instance. The faintest amount. Not sure. Rose or Roselle of sports. No idea. To bring in money is to earn money. The faintest... Is this going to be errant again for some reason? We're just going to show up and mean something that was not a sense I previously understood this word to have. The Pirates of Penzance, Gilbert and Sullivan operetta. There we go. Oh, Pele? The soccer player? No, surely not. Oh, Pete Rose? That's somebody. Who's Pete Rose? Pete Rozelle, I don't think I've ever heard of. Pete Rose, I've vaguely heard of. I couldn't tell you who it is. Anyway, this isn't errant. It's a trace. The faintest amount, a trace. Okay, so the Haagen-Dazs S must go here. There we go. Frank, who directed It's a Wonderful Life, Capra. Frank Capra, the director, film director. First aid equipment, splints, maybe? Yeah, that's plausible. The Wizard of Menlo Park was a nickname for Thomas Edison. He had a workshop at Menlo Park, California. Lines on a... Wait, was it California? Well, now I'm really doubting myself. California or New Jersey? Strange states to get confused. Sorry, I'm really losing it here. Anyway, lines on a map. Roads, I suppose. It's straightforward. The Born Identity Organization, the CIA, I guess was the organization. I mean, I've seen some of those films. It must have been the CIA who was the sort of clandestine organization in those films. Next to last Greek letter, phi or psi? Sports, oh, another sports clue. Sports star inducted into the National Women's Hall of Fame in 2021. Actually, I might know this. I mean, I didn't know it as the actual fact, but I might recognize the name, Mia Hamm, another footballer. Well, I say another because I mistakenly brought up Pele, but which was not actually accurate, but I bet that's the answer here. Well, well, well. Ah, or oh, probably. There's probably an H there. Bowling alley features are lanes, and if one is off base, one is wondering if this means, the question mark indicating punnery or wordplay, I'm wondering if it means off base in the sense of not on a military base, whereas obviously ordinarily the phrase off base would mean incorrect or something to that effect, but I'm going to delete that H for now. Airport Screening Group is the TSA, the Transport Security Agency or Administration, whatever it is. If one sounded satisfied, say one, maybe this is also a sort of odd. Seems a little bit surprising if there were two of those in the same puzzle, but maybe the other one is something else. Wambach in the National Soccer Hall of Fame, this is a sports crazy crossword. The E in the mnemonic Holmes. Oh, is this the Great Lakes? Ontario, Michigan, Erie, Superior. Erie? Lake Erie? I think that's what this is. Wiener Schnitzel meat is veal. Yeah, Wiener Schnitzel would typically be a veal cutlet. And Wambach. Oh, I think I've heard of this person as well. Is it Ali Wambach? Maybe. A-L-L-Y or I? Anthem lyricist with a musical name. Oh, Francis Scott Key of the U.S. National Anthem. So the music, of course, key being a musical term. So I think this is Ali Wambach. Look at that. I'm really, I'm surprisingly sort of crawling my way through these sports clues without too much difficulty. Circle, which is a shock to me as much as it is to you, I'm sure. Circling as a satellite. Orbiting? Oh, maybe this wasn't Ali. Maybe it was Abby. Oh, sorry. As I just said, I was doing okay. I was sort of phonetically heading in the right direction, but not actually correct. Circling as a satellite could be orbiting. There we go. Okay, well, I'm glad it didn't trip me up too much, at least. This looks like Volkswagen. 1970s auto. Oh, right. 1970s auto that shares part of its name with one of Santa's reindeer. Okay. Donner? On Donner on Blitzen. Donner is one of Santa's reindeer. Was there a 1970s model of Volkswagen called the Volkswagen Donner? I suppose there must have been. That's interesting. Okay, well, we'll keep going. Very muscular in slang, swole is the sort of current way to say that. There we go. Okay, so the next to last Greek letter is psi. And well, well, well. Oh, it isn't O, it's oho. That prevents us from doubling up the odd, although that looks like that is not the answer to here, to the answer to this clue anyway. Unless, oh no, maybe, no, it's not Donner, it's a dancer. Okay, that does sound more familiar, actually, to me, Volkswagen Dancer. And that is also the name of one of Santa's reindeer. Okay, so sound is satisfied is indeed odd. There we go. So if you imagine you were in a spa or something and you made that sound, it was probably out of satisfaction. Okay, so off base, it was what I thought. It was not on a base because this could be gone AWOL, away without leave. Someone keeps reminding me. I keep those things where I keep misstating what it is, and now I can't remember which way I've been misstating it. So I might have reversed sort of reverse psychologized myself into saying it incorrectly again. I think it's away without leave. Okay, macho sorts, he-men, and something that can roar or purr. An engine is often described as roaring or purring. Name for the star on Israel's flag. Is it something David? Star of David? Is it sort of? I don't know I don't know the term. I would think of it as a Star of David. Typically, I'm not sure what the sort of more proper term is. A rookie is a novice, and cutlery is what? Flatware, tableware, maybe specific cutlery, knives. Let's check the crosses on that. Slabs could be hunks of some material. Passover repasts could be seders. There we go, crossing the Star of David. And perfume ingredient. I'm not sure off the top of my head. Apian abode, a hive, because that's referring to bees. And a Dell competitor would be Acer. Certainly, I think, very possibly, I think at this point qualifies as the official personal computer manufacturer of the New York Times crossword. We've been getting Acer a fair amount over the last, I would say, year. Okay, a resident of Salt Lake City would be a Utahn, someone from Utah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that precisely correctly, but Utahn. Perfume ingredient, still not exactly certain about that one. What was this Ness down here? Loch Ness, there we go. We could have had Elliot Ness for another sort of, not Old West lawman, but another kind of storied lawman, I guess in this case, a sort of, Prohibition era example. Okay, perfume ingredient, what do we have here? Camelot Lady Enid, maybe? From the King Arthur sort of mythology. Certain inebriate, someone who's inebriated, who's often drunk, could be a wino. Will do, if you say, I'm on it, I will do. And certain bulbs in brief could be LED light bulbs, light-emitting diode light bulbs. Sailor's speed is often measured in knots, nautical miles. So a ketone is a perfume ingredient. That looks familiar, I suppose, but I wouldn't have gotten there immediately. Well, I wouldn't have, and I didn't. So obviously I wouldn't have. Name for the star on Israel's flag, Magen David, I suppose that is. I'll have to keep that and remember that one. Third word in many limericks. There once was... Oh, is it still not the dancer? It's once again, I got this wrong. It's Dasher. Okay, and I guess maybe that was the one that I had seen and it just sounded more like dancer, so I thought that was maybe the case. Third time's a charm, I hope. But the third word in many limericks is was. There once was a man from Nantucket, as you know, etc. Word before angle or awake. A wide angle, or you could be wide awake. And home to the Taj Mahal is Agra. A kind of jet, a Lear jet, is a sort of, I think, a business jet, a kind of private business jet, I think, is a brand of that. Long-running sketch show in brief, I think, certainly will be SNL, Saturday Night Live, comes up not infrequently. And double blank variety of pun, double entendre could be a variety of pun, that's sort of suggestive double meaning. And a scarf might cover it. It might cover the nape of your neck. There might be something else this could be, but that's plausible. Dramatic exhalation could be a deep sigh. High maintenance headliner, a diva, I suppose. Used often to refer to a sort of demanding artist. Olympic skater Slutskaya. Irina, maybe? Once again, another sports clue. This is just It's been all over this puzzle, hasn't it? Oh, and here's suddenly our theme. I didn't realize I'd been filling out a theme. With 68 across, ulterior motive, and we've not yet filled that one out yet, or what 21, 37, and 59 across each has. So we filled out all of the theme answers themselves, but we've not yet filled out fully either half of the compound revealer, which ties these theme clues together and explains what's been going on. Sort of covertly, because I didn't even realize I'd been solving theme clues. So ulterior motive, a hidden agenda. Yes, each of these includes the word agenda hidden within it. So let's just fill out the revealer first. And then we can take a quick look. So Haagen-Dazs includes the word agenda. Volkswagen Dasher includes the word agenda hidden within it. And finally, Magen David includes the word agenda hidden in it. Well found on Daniel Raymond's part. Motorcycle in slang often referred to as a hog. This does look like arena, doesn't it? So to get situated is to, if you get yourself situated, you could orient yourself. And bestows in the Bible could be giveth, that's sort of slightly archaic verb conjugation. So this was arena, not the way I would have assumed it was spelled. I would have put an E there initially, so I'm glad I did the crosses first instead. And then a math degree could be an nth, so you could say 5 to the nth degree, where n is, whatever, and then there's a formula for that or a series of numbers or something. Okay, subject of HBO's 2013 biopic Behind the Candelabra. I do know this was about Liberace. I have not seen this particular film, but the pianist Liberace. ZZ Top, for one, is a trio, I suppose, of rock musicians. And to amass is to hoard. I don't know very much about ZZ Top. I mean, I've heard the songs that everybody's heard, but I do know, I'm sure most people know this fact as well, but ZZ Top, known for their incredibly sort of dramatically long beards, but of course the member of ZZ Top without that particular signature element is Frank Beard. I think Frank. I could be misremembering his first name, but he's, in any case, Mr. Beard is the one without the long beard, which I enjoy. Blank Lady, nickname for Margaret Thatcher or the Eiffel Tower, the Iron Lady is that nickname. Margaret Thatcher, the one-time British Prime Minister, and the Eiffel Tower, of course, the Parisian landmark. Sparkly headpieces are tiaras, and do it again is to cry out encore, encore at a performance. We'll just check the crosses before we finish this off. Sri Lankan specialty would be tea. That makes sense. And the moon's sea of tranquility, of course, is a lunar feature. So there we go. That was I was going to say a relatively smooth solving Tuesday puzzle. I think I lucked out, to be honest, with some of these sports clues triggering a kind of vague memory or recognition. In some cases, fairly obviously quite vague, because with this one I was relatively certain it was Ali Wambach. Indeed, it was not. It was Abby Wambach. But that sort of vague memory was phonetically close enough that I was able to correct the mistake without too much difficulty. So I think I did sort of luck out in some respect on this puzzle. It could have been a much tougher solve for me given the areas of knowledge on which it focused. But a nice simple theme, a very, very classic early week theme, in that we solved the main components of the theme without needing to worry about the theme in any way. And then the revealer was itself also included a perfectly ordinary clue, ulterior motive, which is a hidden agenda. You could also get that without worrying about the theme. But then once we do, we can see that indeed the word agenda is nicely hidden within each of these clues. And a very nice, extremely diverse range of clues. I mean, if I were looking at Haagen-Dazs, Volkswagen Dasher, and Magen David, I mean, I would probably, if I were trying to determine what connected them, I'm sure I would eventually get to agenda, but at a glance, they're just three completely unrelated concepts. I suppose they each are proper nouns, essentially, that they refer to very specific things. Two of them are brands, and one of them is obviously not a brand, but is referring to an extremely specific cultural concept. So I guess they sort of share that in common. But there we go. That was the Tuesday puzzle. A nice, solid early week solve by Daniel Raymond. And there was actually, I guess, sort of in a culturally related sense to some of the clues in today's puzzle, I just had one clue, one comment related to yesterday's puzzle I was going to read from Gary Britton, who explains regarding kosher seafood in general. I just completely thought about this in the wrong way. It was about how kosher seafood, unlike non-kosher seafood, has scales. And I was thinking, oh, I wasn't aware of that. You leave the scales on? Is that? No, of course not. I wasn't thinking about this at all. As Gary Britton explains, kosher seafood in general, this is a question of fish versus shellfish. Fish with scales are kosher, not shellfish like crabs, oysters, lobster, etc. So yes, of course that's the case. Shellfish is not kosher. So a way to distinguish that is scaled fish are considered acceptable for kosher. It's not that you leave the scales on the fish. So that was just one of those things that often happens to me solving the crossword. I'm sure it happens to some of you as well, where you just get focused on a very specific way of reading a clue, and it doesn't even occur to you that you are doing so and that there's another way to be interpreting what it is you're reading. And that happened to me with that one. So thank you, Gary Britton, for correcting my assumption. All right, and that's that for today's puzzle, for today's video. I'll be back, of course, tomorrow for the Wednesday crossword, the midweek, mid-difficulty solve. So do join me for that. But until then, please do have an excellent remainder of your Tuesday. Take care.